Sunday night. It's me and my trauma tiger. I just got done with my weekend of school in psychology world and trigger. Today we had human development, lifespan development, and we did our timeline of life, and that was some interesting places to go. I had to do it was like the timeline of our life, right? So like birth to now. And I get so wrapped up in details. It was like all details. It was like, and then I moved here, and then I moved here, and then my brother was born, and then, these are all like, I picked like things that were impactful, but there were a lot of impactful things that happened, like what my parents were like when I was a kid, which was, slightly emotionally immature and addict might be a good word, but not attuned. No judgment. There before the grace go I, they had not great childhoods with being emotionally attuned to themselves or anyone else either, and so then I came into the same cycle, and in my 40s, I'm just now learning how to emotionally regulate and connect to my feelings and everything, and it is hard work. It's hard work, and if I didn't have the awareness, if I didn't have the access to probably social media, absolutely to the school that I'm going to, like, how the hell would I know how to do this? So, it's hard. It's hard to do. That being said, I'm not close with either one of them, so that's kind of a bummer. But anyway, today, I had kind of a realization when I was doing the timeline thing, and I talked about it, just like something that came up for me that I didn't see coming. And as I was sitting at a table with one of my classmates who was letting me use his colored pencils. And I love my classmates, every single one of them. Like, I have so much love for these people. We are all like so deeply vulnerable and open, and this fella sitting at the table with me was no different. He goes deep, and I really appreciate that about him. Anyway, so we're writing on our timelines, and I am just like trying to do mine. I had resistance come up to begin with as I was doing it, but I was just trying to stay away from having a breakdown over the shit, because like I was dwelling on traumatic stuff. Which was funny too, but anyway, I was doing it without feeling it. I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do this. We're just going to get it done. And the fellow that I was sitting at the table with was apparently not able to compartmentalize himself as unhealthily as I do. And he started to have some feelings, and I could see it. And I had this inclination to reach out and touch his arm. But then I had this voice in my head that said, no, everyone needs to process their own shit by themselves. And so I didn't reach out. And our professor came over to him and handed him a box of Kleenex, and I had this feeling of like, oh fuck, why didn't I reach out? Like, this is my friend, and I didn't reach out to him, and I felt terrible. So when she walked away, I reached out and held his arm for a second, and I still felt so bad about it. So anyway, we finished the timeline. Some of us finished the timeline. I didn't finish the timeline because I only got to like 25, and then like the missing rest of my life, because it takes me so long to go through and write all these things out. But anyway, so we were done, and then my professor asked us to journal about the experience of writing the timeline out, and how it felt in our bodies to do this. And the first thing I wrote was that I could feel the resistance and the anxiety in my arms. I feel a lot of anxiety in my arms, my outer arms, and my shoulders. And I said I could feel that. And then I said I felt really guilty that I didn't reach out. And I said the thought that had gone in through my head when I did it, and I realized why I didn't reach out, was one, I didn't want to feel my feelings. And I knew that if I made eye contact with him, that I probably would have broken too. And secondly, the words that I used would have been the words that my parents used with me. Figure it out on your own, right? Whatever you're feeling, you're going to have to figure it out on your own. You're going to have to process it on your own. And I lost it. That was when I broke. Was like, oh shit, I just did that to someone else. How often am I doing that to someone else unconsciously so that I don't have to be uncomfortable? Talk about history repeating. Oh my God. Yeah, it was a strange thing because I like to think I'm more conscious than that with my kids. And if they were going through something like that, I would reach out to them and want to talk about it and try to resolve it. But that I wasn't there for my classmate, I felt horrible about. So I brought it up at checkout. Sent so much anxiety through my body again, just like this heart-pounding, blood-pumping anxiety to say these words out loud. I was so ashamed of myself. I was so ashamed that I hadn't reached out in the moment when someone needed it, when someone that I cared about needed it. And I said what I was feeling and what I went through and how bad I felt that I didn't reach out and touch his arm. And he picked up his journal and he said, "It's so strange that you wrote that, because I wrote that as I was feeling those feelings, I had a pain in my arm. And I was that missing link." It was like, it was just such a strange bit of synchronicity and like how interconnected we all are. So, but it was a good reminder to reach out when you have that inclination and not to be stopped and not to hold back because you think that it's your job to help someone else or not to give that love. So that was really like an awareness of how I had been raised as a child and how much I didn't want to bring that forward with me, but also how much those patterns come with you anyway. So anyway, the other part was one of my classmates yesterday in class, I had talked about like what I'm kind of going through right now with trying to be congruent in my relationships and how challenging it was and what it was bringing up for me. And like I ended up crying in front of class because I've been so stressed and so anxious over what sort of telling my truth has done at this point in my life. It's extremely painful to have like buried things for so long, and then now to have this upheaval of sharing things that make other people very uncomfortable and sad, and it's hard. Anyway, one of my classmates said to me before I left last night, it was actually great because so many of my classmates came up to me and said, "Hey, me too. I'm feeling that too. And if you want to talk, I'm here." And this fella was like, you know, similar things in my marriage. This is really challenging. And I find myself realizing that I have to be me. I have to be myself. And he said, that's, you know, the most important thing, Stacey, is that you have to be yourself. You have to be you. And I took that with me, and it was like just exactly what I needed to hear. And what did he say? Results be damned, or whatever be damned. You have to be yourself. And it was very validating because I really do believe that. And to have someone else say that was like, yes, it's true. It is absolutely true. If I'm not telling my truth, if I'm not being truthful and honest and being myself in like across the board, but especially in my most intimate relationships, what am I doing? This is not real. None of this is real. So I took that home with me, and I got this wild hair to start writing last night. And I began what is going to be my book. And I've been putting this book off for well over a decade because I haven't known how to begin. I haven't known how to start, and I haven't known what to tell. And I realize now why I haven't told that story is because I haven't felt fully free to be myself, and it wouldn't have resonated. So now is the time at last, and I'm excited about that. So it was a really productive weekend and really emotionally exhausting.